I remember when I was about 22, a friend of mine was in the Rotary Club and they were having a Christmas run and he asked me if I'd come along. I was astonished to go into these houses and see 3 or 4 kids to the one bed. These were houses I walked past every day for years and didn't know that inside those walls were some tragic stories.
My dad, he physically beat on me as a kid, and I took it so my brother and sister did not get hurt. It was that bad that we had to go to court and all that for it.
I'm just so scared to bond, have that trust. And the problem with that is that means that I have to deal with things myself. So then when things get too hard, it just presses all on top of me, and then it puts me at the risk of losing my mind.
I didn't know how to socialise or how to make friends, and so I always got angry at someone, just led on to me making trouble.
When I first started working, it was a little bit scary. I was out in an environment where car tyres got slashed, I got threatened.
When you've got some of these areas that have got some of the biggest populations of our prison populations, it becomes second and third generation of in and out of, out of prison. This is only 10 k's from the CBD of Melbourne, in what's supposed to be the world's most livable city.
I think we're all very busy and we're all focused on our daily life, and I think we've forgotten community.
The biggest difference for young people today as opposed to when I was a teenager is there was lots of work opportunity.
Nobody would give me a shot because I'm heavily tattooed. They come up with so many bullcrap excuses as to why they wouldn't give me a shot. Right down your police record doesn't check out, it's blank.
I think there's been a transition for young people that are disengaged. I think social media has a lot to do with it. People don't have to interact.
Because if you're alone and you're isolated and you're questioning whether you can go through another day being alone or isolated, and you shift into a circle of people taking drugs, then you've got an instant family.
Richard, Jim and I worked through the crisis times of the 90s when we were burying kids almost on a weekly basis. I remember one year, I think we buried 35 kids from our office in Footscray.
We don't sit around debating the issue too long. We roll up our sleeves and we get the job done. But we're meticulous about doing the right job. That's why we've undertaken this social impact evaluation.
Originally, the Redskins Basketball Club was established to create a healthy lifestyle. Also, there's an acceptance of rules within society.
A couple of friends who moved down the street and they introduced me to the game of basketball, and they took me down to the Redskins Club one day.
Basketball or sport is about rules. Society has rules, and if we can get the young people to abide by certain rules and understand them, and also have an acceptance of self and others, therefore will go a long way to being meaningful members on society. I think the most important thing is the relationships that are established and the role models created within can impinge on a young person's life.
I stayed with the club for maybe a good 4 years, and Jim took me into a leadership program.
The leadership program takes those young people who lack self-confidence and the motivation through a 12-month program where we instill self-belief and confidence and empower the young people to take control of their life and become meaningful members of society.
I remember our first camp I was on with the leadership program. I didn't talk for the first few activities, I didn't say anything.
I was taken a kilometre out and I had to camp outside under the stars alone.
With the abseiling, I was terrified, but then since I did it, it gave other people the courage to do it, and then later on some of them even came up to me and were like, the only reason why I did it because you did it first.
I used to be inspired by celebrities and all those people, there's like icons, which is natural, but then I realized that the inspirations and people that we really should look up to is just like around us.
When I survived it and I got back in the car, I was very relieved and I thought I could do anything.
It's that sense of achievement, like that, like sense of like support, like that there's people that you can rely on.
The guy that came in and spoke to us, he kind of just told us all about having reachable goals, and that's really stuck to me because I wrote down 3 goals. We only supposed to write 1, but I wrote 3.
I guess it's changed how we communicate too, especially older people, especially our parents.
I used to be like, didn't really like talking to my mom and my parents and that, but now, coming into it now, like, I can like be free and open with them.
I gained more confidence, I socialise more, I got a family, a second family.
Yeah, now I can see myself that I could be a leader, not just now, not just at home, not just school, but in the future, in the community, anywhere else.
If we can have some peer mentors within the community, that means that the leadership program is succeeding, and that's how we judge its success.
The key things that we do is that we provide the services that are so desperate for families to be able to function and for the community to have some sort of social cohesion, and that is around education. So we provide school books.
When we first started back to school, we had a young guy who wanted to go to school and didn't have the books, and when we went to deliver the books, we discovered that he was going to school from the boot of a car. Adversity really created the program. We didn't create the program.
At the start of the year, everybody has got their books, but since we don't have a lot of money in our family, I didn't get mine.
People often look down on me because they just thought I was so stupid. That was kind of hard because then you'd go out in the yard and it would actually reflect on what kind of person you were.
I felt scared, and I was like, everyone has their books, why don't I have my book, and am I not good enough? Like, I just didn't feel, I wasn't confident at all.
When I went into the class with all my books, it was kind of empowering.
I started getting A+. Today, like, last week was the first time I actually got a B+, and I was like, what? Where did that go from? Yeah, that's right. Everything's changed now.
We define ourselves by our positions in life, and I've always been the same as I'm uneducated, I'm nothing, I'm just a bum on the street, I ain't gonna go nowhere. And once I started to educate myself, I realised that there's actually doors opening up out there, and I can keep moving forward and keep bettering myself.
Early intervention, when these kids are starting to look a little bit wobbly, is so critical. We see our role as looking at some of the ways we can shortcut that, and one of them is outreach youth workers. The outreach person would be out there working with the parents of the child that's having issues, working with the school, and more particularly with the young person in the community. So everyone's a winner.
It's amazing how a small little gesture of like kindness can change a person's attitude and change a person's life.
I remember when the police had a lot of young people hanging around the Churchill Avenue shops, and they said, Jim, look, we need somebody down there. There's all these other programs, but no one can engage with the young people. So they sought the 20th Man Fund, who are proficient enough in reaching the kids at the back of the queue, the young people that nobody wants, the hardcore young people. So we went and befriended them.
The government provide funding for our youth support service, which is a great diversion program, helping young people away from the justice system.
What we did is to gain respect within the young people, but for themselves to gain respect of the community and others, and therefore they just evolved and made it easy. The positive feedback we got from the police and the community was endless.
There's an old saying, societies fall apart when good people do nothing.
It made me realize that I just want to do something that will help others as well.
The people there are just so welcoming, whereas before I wouldn't really bother to get out of my comfort zone and try to talk to them, and they've just opened up to me, and it's like, wow.
Once that bond started clicking in, it just started to continue to grow and it cemented, and it just continues to drive us.
And I think it's the people that really make it what it is. They're also accepting and encouraging and supportive. They're just always there for you.
We need to love, value and listen to our young people and ensure that young people are empowered enough to take control of what it is they want to do and become the leaders of tomorrow.
The 20th Man Fund would like to give every young person the chance to have a successful life.
I think we've proven that negative, heavy-handed tactics don't work. So join us in adopting a positive approach and investing in our young people. They're the future of this country.
Lifts you, it motivates you to keep moving forward, make plans, plan out your future and move forward with that.